Jason to get in. Do. All right, Jason. Just I don't know how to share this. It doesn't even tell me. I'll just wait. Jason. Hey, Jason. How are you doing? Can you hear me? Hey, Edmond7. I just want to speak. Okay, good. I just want to speak about how I met Daniel Clint Rich, and yeah, because I never really did that. So I uh, I heard his name through one of Eric Blanc's videos, actually multiple. And when I heard his name, I was surprised and shocked because I had no clue about that name, and I looked into this case since 2013. Thank you, Jason. And so when I found out, like, apparently that he was involved, I tried finding him right away online through Facebook because I'm just allowed to use Facebook because I have a probation order right now. Anyway, so I did that and I started making YouTube videos. I bought a sheet. I bought a fucking sheet at Walmart and spray paint, and I spray painted on it Dylan Carlson and Danny Clint Rich are Kurt Cobain's murderers. And I didn't really know if that was true or not. I was just going off of video information. But anyway, I did that. And I reached out to him and I put a post out there saying to get a hold of me. But luckily I think it was that I found his other Facebook. He had a different Facebook account, but he wasn't on that anymore. He lost the password or it got hacked or something by an ex-girlfriend. That's what he was saying. And so I found his other Facebook account and we started talking from there. And I called him up and yeah. And from there it's history. Really. I can't believe what came out of that. I can't even believe that he died. And it is weird that he said he was going to fake his death to me many times. And then he dies, apparently. If you look on my channel, look for the video, what Danny told me before he died or something like that. And you'll hear him saying himself that he's going to fake his death after he does all this. But I don't know. I mean, there is so much that people aren't supposed to know. Like the Who Killed Kurt crowd. Lisa and Michelle know his connection with David Geffen, yet they don't want the public to know that. And I even have messages where Lisa's telling me, yeah, don't tell people that. That will just make you look more guilty. Also, the first person to promote Hole's first show, Courtney Love's Band, was the first person to promote Dan's band. And he lived 13 minutes away from her. Isn't that right, Jason? Back in 1996 or so. I mean, his name has been, like, tossed around. It basically is open secret with people in the entertainment industry and everything. Now we know about his name. But since 1996, or it could be, yeah, he told me it was 1996 when people first started speaking about his name being involved with Kurt Cobain. And he pinpoints it to his ex-wife, Virginia, being with Courtney and working on her hair. Yeah. And a lot of people, I mean, they don't believe the Danny thing. They weren't allowed to know simple fucking shit that would make them go, holy fucking shit, about that guy. They didn't want him talking about his connection with David Geffen, especially through his sister. They didn't want people to know a whole bunch of things, and now they're wanting to discredit not only Danny, but Joe. There might be a different reason as to why they don't want people to freely go to Joe or Danny. And now Danny's apparently dead. You can literally just contact these people. You don't need to pay people $10 to get you in contact with Joe Burns. You can literally just message him yourself on Facebook. You don't need people directing what you're going to know or think. I know. I would recommend that anyone just reaches out to these people on Facebook. Don't be afraid to do so. Yeah, and Danny's poem about Kurt. I'll try to find that. Um, well, not right now, but he's talking about how he's the law and poor, grungy Kurt Cobain is, goes into a lot more detail, but I just don't remember it off by heart. Yeah, Joe is like even like speaking out against them in YouTube comments on his own profiles. The Who Killed Kurt girls, and they're only popular because Joe, the eyewitness, who they now are discrediting. And maybe Michelle's not doing that, but Lisa is, and Michelle's not doing anything to stand up for Joe. And Joe doesn't like Michelle or Lisa. He hates them, actually. I mean, that was his friend. Now this is happening with YouTubers online over it, who are taking it as serious as it is. Jason, is there anything else that you would want to know about the month I first spoke with Danny? Probably. Let me think. I think in the summer of 2024. Ed Mod 7, no, I didn't see that. But anyway, Danny was stalked. His home was, well, Dean went to Danny's girlfriend's parents' house because he followed them there. Danny didn't live there. He didn't know if Danny lived there. He followed Danny and Kat. And he took photos and videos and he put it up on his own YouTube channel. He also put a cat in a box and put it out in the sun because he thought it was Danny's cat at Danny's actual. No, this was still at that place. I think it might have been at his house too because he got him there too. He stalked him out there. And I know Dean's gonna freak out over this, but that's what happened, and that's my friend, and he's most likely dead now. And so I'm going to say what he would say. And he was really ashamed about all, not ashamed, he was really upset about all the suicides. And I think that's why he really connected with me, because I have my true story about speaking with Hank Harrison over the phone in 2017 and drinking and then hanging up, blaring Nirvana and attempting suicide and then laying down. And it was so scary because I started hearing fucking voices everywhere, and I knew that I just had to accept fucking dying, and I thought I was going to hell. That was a scary night. But then I got out of that. I actually texted a worker that night, and I didn't even remember doing that. And then my landlord came in, and they got me, and I told Danny about that. And he was upset about the suicides. I know most people won't care. They just want to talk about blood and guts. But people's lives matter. Yep. Jason, what else? By the way, the Who Killed Kurt crowd on their Facebook, all they are really into doing is spying on people that care about Kurt Cobain and want justice for him, snapshotting what they're doing on their profile and any messages they can and sharing them with each other and chatting about them. They're not trying to help Kurt. Even Jason knows that what they're doing is just to get money now from people. They weren't even supposed to release that interview with Joe Burns. They weren't supposed to do that. And what they did was cut it up and made it confusing. And they also took out Matthew's voice and then put it back up. No wonder it doesn't make sense, because they split all of that interview into different sections. It's not organized. It's not as it was. I thought it was over 7 hours, but it's like over 12 hours. And I have recordings and videos. Yeah, they're suppressing more than that, too. Now they're trying to discredit Joe. And the only reason they keep getting followers is because Michelle and Lisa keep paying for them. And because they have the eyewitness on their side, apparently. Well, they used to, but they don't anymore. Yeah. No, and Lisa is into really hard drugs, not just weed. And they collected a lot of money making that mini documentary and kept saying that how much money they needed to make that. And now it's not even up on their YouTube channel. It's like it never even happened. Yeah, the recordings of Joe are all cut up. They're all put together in ways that make it confusing to understand. And Joe never got any money from them. $10 a question, and he didn't even get any money. That's why I tell people to reach out to him yourself. Joseph Burns, Josef Burns, on Facebook. His profile is like of a skull and crossbones. And he will speak to you. Doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to reach out to him through YouTubers that want to exploit him. You can just reach out to Joe yourself on Facebook. You don't have to send any money even. And when he wanted money, it was because he was struggling. But they connected it with the Kurt Cobain case. Michelle and Lisa did. It's like if I was asking for money and then some YouTubers connected me asking for help with my case with a certain celebrity that I can't say yet. Meanwhile, that's not true. That was something separate. But they made it connected. Yeah, Joe and I created the channel for Joe, and then I gave him the email and the password, and he changed the password, and now he has his own channel where he can even watch videos that aren't restricted anymore. And so we're working on that. He did an interview with one of his musician friends about history and the occult. And he told me he recorded something, but he was walking around and the phone didn't pick it up. And I told him he needed a Bluetooth headset. But we're going to do an episode ourselves too, me and Joe, where we're speaking about lucid dreaming, astral projection, out-of-body experiences, remote viewing, consciousness, all the things that Kurt was into as well, that Kurt knew and Joe knew at the same time. They would even pass books around about it in World War II and the occult. And Kurt was into the dream machine thing, which is basically a lucid dreaming machine. It flashes lights on you, and you're supposed to put it on at night when you're really tired. And you'll go into a trance state of consciousness. And it's just as real as right now where you are. I knew Kurt was onto something more. And his music connected a lot of people that didn't even agree with other people. It brought them together. It was turned sour by evil. Courtney Love. Oh shit. Courtney Hate, I mean. Jason, I've been involved in looking into it on my own since 2013 when I was like 22, and now I'm 32. Yeah, that's a good idea too, Edmond7. What I've been doing is I've been creating videos that flash, and then I put them in a VR headset app, and in my VR headset. I mean, it's not it's not supposed to just be the royal family and elite celebrities that understand this occult knowledge. And we know even Kurt knew about it back then. These people have kept a lot of things secret for a lot of years, not just murder, but occult knowledge as well. And what they're doing with politics, etc., and the sex trafficking, Jeffrey Epstein. They're keeping a lot of things secret. And a lot of people I noticed got divorces in around 2019 when the Jeffrey Epstein case broke about all the celebrities being involved. And they're all dancing around now and looking great on Instagram and, you know, showing off their lives until a Netflix documentary breaks on them that doesn't make them look so good. And that continues to happen. Yeah, I know. Until then, we love them online. We don't know them, but we love them. And they don't know us, and they don't care about us. But, I want to talk about the red dress thing, too. I think it was Courtney in the red dress. Because if you look at photos of her from 1994 and 1995 from behind, like there's photos of her in a mirror where you can see behind her, her posture is the exact same as Kurt Cobain's. And then maybe it's because they both did heroin and were skinny at the time. Or it's one of, like Danny said, her possessive traits where she tries to take on her victim. Just like killers do. Some of them that are obsessed with the victim that they kill. And she was a fan of Kurt's before she even knew Kurt. She had pictures of him on her wall during the Bleach era before she even met him. Her dad said that. So that's like me with my case with a certain celebrity if it got that bad, you know? First you're obsessing over the celebrity, And then you go and you flirt with them and you get with them and then you take everything from them. She was literally a fan of Kurt's in the Bleach era and had photos on her wall of Kurt before she even met him. That's coming from her own dad. So some fan out there got really lucky. That's a big opportunity they got. I'm kind of jealous, but not really, because it's really evil what she did. Because she took Kurt away from the daughter that he loved. And I could see how soft he was with her, even just through videos. Is there anything else, Jason? And Courtney Love's dad, by the way, was the first person to bring up the red dress as well. Well, I don't know if he was the first person, but he was the first person to bring up the plane and Courtney Love having access to a plane that would be able to go to the house at any time. And he said in his book that she made sure that she had an alibi and was seen backstage at a Babes in Toyland concert. Then she's not there anymore. Do you think when she's obsessing about Kurt and freaking out and wanting to find out where he is and really mad towards him, knows he's gonna take the money from her and the child? Do you think she's gonna relax behind the stage, backstage at a Babes in Toyland concert? Toyland? Yeah, and in Last Days, they clearly show the red dress. And Joe Burns, too, and the big glasses back then. At what point did Danny open up to me? He opened up to me about 2 months or maybe 3 months before he died. What's that? Allison, let me see. Oh, yeah. Last Days is exactly what Joe was saying. And by the way, think about Joe's statement about how he was in the kitchen with Kurt. In the police documents, it is written that Tom Grant and Dylan Carlson both entered the house through the kitchen. That lines up with what Joe was saying. And Joe told me personally that Tom was there that night. That night that Kurt was killed. The timeline has been altered in his case manual study. And in the police reports. That with the time frames that they gave him. They have been altered. That's why this hasn't been solved for 31 fucking years. We could go on another 31 years, but I kind of want to get this over with. We shouldn't fall for the same bullshit. And Kurt even had a dream of him being killed by a cop. And look what happened. Kurt was hiding from private investigators at the time of his murder. At the time of Kurt's murder, he was hiding from private investigators. Kurt Cobain was. So keep that in mind when you think of Tom Grant. Nice, since 1997. Apparently he's married someone that's from where I'm from, in Toronto. Dylan Carlson. And she's fat. You hear her nicely, Bonnie. Yeah. And they're like, oh, where are we going? All of a suddenly, why the heck is this happening? Like that. And also, I think the scene in Last Days when that person displaying Kurt Cobain looks up in the greenhouse and keeps staring in shock. I think that's when he seen Courtney Love in the red dress. And you have Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth, his favorite band, too, in that movie. They obviously know what's up, but they're being sneaky people about it. Is there anything else, Jason? Or anyone? Also, I think Rosemary Carroll stopped speaking with Tom Grant because she figured it out too. He could have been, because he had money in his pocket too, even when his body was found. He could have easily paid for the meal. But then at the same time, I think it was Kurt Cobain that canceled the credit cards. Because he was taking the house back and the money back. That's what even Hank Harrison said in his book, Courtney's dad. It was Kurt that was manning up and standing up right at that moment. In those moments when he was killed. It was Kurt that... Courtney lies so much. So when you hear everything she says, you got to take into account that she's probably lying. I pretty much believe, just like Hank thinks, that it was Kurt that canceled the credit cards. He wanted to divorce Courtney. At that time, he was wanting to take all the money away from her. So of course it was Kurt. Unless Courtney knew that, and she did, and she tried to do it before he did. But I think it was Kurt, because he was really taking a stand at that moment. He wasn't letting junkies take over his place anymore. Or his life. Or the mainstream media do that to him. When you become a product and you have to wake up every day and do things for people, and you just want to be yourself, and still he was a kid, enjoy his young adulthood, and he wasn't able to. People that are younger, like actresses, have problems with that as well. Yeah. You know what's interesting? If you take Hole's Live Through This album and you put it in the AI voice of Kurt Cobain, it sounds like Kurt Cobain wrote those lyrics exactly. And it's his kind of guitar music. Except for some things have been changed that talks about being a girl. And I know they say, oh, that's not true. But why are they even making a point of that then? To speak about it. So maybe the song Violet by Hole, that was really popular in the 90s, maybe that was a Kurt song. Maybe that was a Nirvana song. And we had no clue. I mean, you guys didn't. I didn't. Well, I was a baby when I seen things about him on the news and Much Music, because my sister would always watch Much Music in the 90s. And even in 1996, they were still showing things about Kurt on TV when I was 4 years old or whatever. And so I remember him on the news. And I thought he was my dad because he looks like me. And ironically, we're both from Northern Ireland and the same town, too. Our families. But that's what I began to remember, because I remembered in 2013 when I started listening to Nirvana. I'm like, that's the guy from the 90s that I forgot about. Just like I've forgotten about everything I used to own back then. and how things were. They were a lot nicer and simpler and more human back then. Yeah, fifth grade. Oh wow, right before he died. That would have been harder, I imagine, because you're only like 12 or something in the fifth grade. And then if you hear he dies and then you hear it's suicide, which is obviously it isn't, but you hear that at that age. What was that like for you, Edmond 7? And my actual dad were bikers. Well, he was a biker, and so was his brother. So were his brothers. And so they kind of had that dirty, grungy look like Kurt. And I only seen them about twice or maybe three times in my life as a baby. Same time when I was seeing all those news things about Kurt. Uh, Jason, oh, just a sec. I remember reading a Time magazine article in my parents' bedroom about it. I don't know why I still remember that article from Time, I think. Because it was shocking. I remember being 7 years old and finding this big tin that my mom had of photos of our family, and there was magazines in there, like National Enquirer. And I remember seeing weird, gross photos of Courtney Love with like makeup smeared all over her, looking like the Joker. And those things shocked me too. I was 7 years old. It shocked you because it's so in your face evil. And now it's basically like the National Enquirer has made its way onto the internet with every celebrity posting on their official social media platform or profile, I mean. Yeah, Jason asked, did you locate that article since that time? What article? Man, so many people have died caring about Kurt, thinking that it was suicide, and probably people have died knowing that it was murder and just freaked out. So you were just speaking. Oh no! Oh, I could look back at the National Enquirer magazines and find it. She had makeup all smeared over her like she was partying, and that's why they used that image probably. That's crazy. No, wow. Yeah, my mom kept them in a tin, so even if they were from 1994, they were still in the tin in 1996 or in 1997, 98, 99 when I kept looking through them every year. And I kept seeing things about 9/11 as well, which scared the heck out of me at that age. Yeah, yeah, my mom still does have that tin with all our photos in it, in the magazines and whatever else, memorabilia from when I was little, even my baby hair. But in 2013, I started listening to Nirvana. Ironically, I was at a youth shelter when I was 16 years old, and a kid there that looked exactly like Kurt Cobain. Now I know that. At the time, I didn't. And his name was Curtis, but he liked people calling him Kurt. And he was playing an acoustic guitar at the time, sitting on a table right by the phone there, by the door. And he was telling me that I should listen to Nirvana, that I would probably really like them. And then I went on for about 3 years and didn't listen to him. But then I did listen to Nirvana because I remembered throughout the years that he told me to do that. And from there I was hooked. And then I was riding my bicycle one night and I was hit by a car in Cobourg, Ontario, Canada. And I suffered a concussion and a near death experience. And I had my Nirvana t-shirt on at that time too, and it was late at night. I had a coffee in my hand on my bicycle too. I was hit at an intersection. And I didn't remember my name or anything after. It was scary. And during that time, I went to the library, and I looked up Kurt Cobain. I watched all these interviews of him, all the music videos, and I didn't even know he had died because I was only watching the music part and the interviews. And literally, I had packed up my things one day, and I went back to the library because I was going to find out where he lived, and this was in 2013. And I was going to travel to him. I was going to find him. I'm like, this guy understands what I'm going through right now. All this spiritual stuff and consciousness. He understands. And I fucking found out he was dead. In a negative and positive ways, I've made good friends. That's, you know, I don't really want to talk about the lucid dreaming experiences here, and this is with Joe, because people just won't understand. No, just a sec. Jason, anything else, or Edmond7 or Allison? By the way, Danny was certain that it was Tom that shot the gun. And there's an audio recording I haven't released even to Eric Blanc yet, where Tom is saying in a showing off way that he shot that very gun. And he says it like that. I shot that gun. But he said it to me in a way in which he was showing off and being egotistical about having actually fucking killed Kurt. That's what I took from that. And I have Joe Burns telling me he was there that night. And even Danny was telling me the timeline had been altered. He was there that night that Kurt was murdered. And it was him, Tom, apparently, that shot Kurt. Tom is a police officer. He's used a gun a lot in his life to shoot people. Kurt even had a dream, ironically, about being killed by a police officer. And Kurt was into lucid dreaming and everything too. And that's what that is in his dreams. If he was just conscious of it, he would realize he would be lucid, right? So that tells you a lot there, and that's something huge. It's coming from Kurt himself having a dream about a police officer killed him. Oh yeah, the testing gun too, yeah, but the way he said it to me was like he wasn't talking about that, because I knew about that too, even when he was telling me about it, about the testing gun. But when he said that to me, his voice tone was meaning something completely different than the testing gun that they had. Yeah, drug dealer and giving him money for drugs and everything, and Ernie Bart didn't want to work with him once he realized that he was going into the house and he was doing illegal stuff. Sorry. And what was Kurt doing at the time of his death again? He was hiding, he was literally hiding from people that Courtney was sending to find him, including private investigators. And that specifically is coming from Joe as well. So everyone can think Tom Grant's a hero, but their hero, Kurt Cobain, was actually hiding from Tom Grant right at the time he was murdered. But we don't have Kurt to look up to anymore. We only have Tom to look up to now. And Courtney. And the rest of them. But we're not doing that. At least most of us aren't. Right, and now he's defending Dylan Carlson, saying that he wasn't there. And Joe, the eyewitness, is saying that Dylan and Tom were there that night. And in the police documents, it Dylan and Tom went through the kitchen door or window. But they're altering the timeline and they're leaving a lot out. And that's why it hasn't been solved for 30 or 31 years. Danny was saying that Mark was. And during that time, too, he was even smoking with a cigarette right by the greenhouse in front of it. And remember, the timeline had been altered. Tom Grant's not telling the truth about the timeline about when he was there at the house. So that means Mark and Dylan were also there at a different time with Tom. Right, and now we won't know. He stayed friends with Dylan. He stayed close friends with Dylan. If he really loved and cared about Kurt, and he'd do about things in that scene, he would stay the fuck away from Dylan. He'd probably beat the shit out of him. If he was a good person that loved Kurt, he would have beat the crap out of Dylan. Right, I think a lot of people seen Kurt. They were all interested in that. Hey, Nayuan, honey, I remember you are the one that has pieces of Kurt's hair as well. And that's cool. That Kurt's with us all, regardless of if we have it or not, though. Right? I should ask him about that. He probably won't speak to me, but I could find a way. Just a sec. Yeah, the timeline had been altered. I got that from Danny and Joe. Joe admits that Tom was at the house that night that Kurt was killed. Kurt even had dreams that he was going to be killed by a police officer. In the police documents, Tom and Dylan are going through the kitchen window or door. In Joe Burns' testimony, they came in through the kitchen. It was Tom and Dylan and some other person. Could have been Danny, and there might have been somebody else. The timeline had been altered. That's why it hasn't been solved for 30 or 31 years. Right. And Kurt was even into lucid dreaming as well in 1993. At least we know in 1993 that he was. Nina Rose, I can show you personal messages between Joe and I on Facebook where he is saying that Tom was definitely there that night. Just message me on Facebook, Zachary McQuaid. No, he didn't go back on that. He said it recently to me. Lisa has been twisting so much. Did you know everybody wasn't even supposed to see that interview with Joe? We're not supposed to see that. Have seen that. They cut that video, and they put that video in different... Fuck. They made the video so confusing. They clipped it in different ways to where it doesn't even make sense. The timeline has been altered, and I know that by someone that was there that night with Kurt Cobain and another person that possibly took part in killing him. I also know that because of Hank Harrison. And if you don't know who that is, that's Courtney Love's dad, who I was in contact with in 2017, who I was also going to bring down to Toronto and do a big thing with, where he spoke about Kurt's death in his book that he was advertising at that time. And no, Joe isn't talking shit. People might not want to believe it, but I guess we can go that way. We cannot believe it, and we can go another 31 years being confused. And we can let more people commit suicide thinking that he did. I think Kurt would be pissed off, Nayoon, honey, that you have some of his hair. You really don't understand. You gotta listen to the people that were there. They matter more than your own opinion. Besides Hank. I have personal messages from the eyewitness that was there in 1994. I really don't think you do, but I think that you do know more. Are you saying that you're psychic and you know a lot more? Anyway, so Jason, are you still there? We have the eyewitness testimony saying they were. That can hold up in court. Even Danny, what he said. Even what others have said. I don't think you know more detail. How long have you been looking into this case, Nayuian? I know a lot more than messages, though. Ask me about anything regarding this, and I'll know as well. I'll know everything you know, if not more. So try me. Why do people want to discredit Joe? Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you, Allison. Yeah, Thomas's people check. Yep, Joe was Kurt's friend. Dramatic and hard for him to even say. Yeah, and I'm involved, and so is Jason with Matthew, and everything we did with Danny, and more that we've done with Joe. Michelle and Lisa burnt that bridge a long time ago, and are no longer working with Jason or Matthew or Joe, even though they have videos up still of Matthew. They're not working with any of them now. And that Ashley Cobain person is not related to Kurt Cobain. That's another fat person that's a scammer that does not look anything like him. And what did they do? They got thousands of dollars out of Alana, and then they sent another person to Alana because they knew she was vulnerable and would send thousands of dollars to people. Oh, suddenly Kurt Cobain's daughter appears, but I come out of nowhere wanting thousands of dollars from somebody. Not weird at all. Is Nayuian not her real name? No, Matthew is the only one who has actually wrote a book speaking about all the suicide victims that have taken their life because they thought Kurt Cobain did. He's the only one to give them any kind of recognition in the awfulness that went on. You're trying to act like you're still involved, just like Michelle and Lisa are. We already have everything that was filmed for Matthew. And we have a lot more that I have with Joe that you haven't heard. So, think about that. In the words of El Duce. It's going to be 30 more years. We'll be like 60 or 90 or 100, and then maybe we'll get to know. And that's if we want to stay confused and not believe that the timeline has been altered. It's been altered since April 1994. Again, Nayu and Honey, we have a lot more with Joe that you don't even know about. So back at ya. And we will prove it. Okay, but first know what you're saying before you share advice. And that would be nicer. Well, we are sharing it, but we're putting it all together right now. Me, Jason, Matthew, and a few other people. It's taking a long time to pinpoint everything and everything we have. To break up the timelines and everything. We are literally like, we have Google documents up with timelines and everything about Danny and Joe's interviews and things Courtney has said. Okay, yeah. Okay, Susan. Oh, yeah. Okay, Susan, yeah. Yeah, if Tom broke into that house, how was he not interviewed about that alone? I don't know. He should have been. Yeah, what are the things you know, Nayui and Honey? We want to know what you know. And millions of other people do too. So you should share it. Maybe she's typing. We'll wait. Some things wait for court, Susan. And it has to be that way. If you know anything about legal side of things, there will be some things that have to wait for court. That's what Nayui and Honey says. Joe don't want to go to court because he is wanted by the police. Anyway. I don't think he's gonna walk into a police station with a warrant on his hands. But we can collect as much money as we want and tell people that that will happen. But it's not gonna. In just a sec, I'll be like 20 seconds. Susan, give us a hint then of something that you know that we don't. We're waiting for information that the world doesn't know. And if anything, what you say can be snapshotted and then used in court. Alright, let's see. I'm back. Let's see all the happy messages. Yeah, and Joe doesn't even want to go to a police station because he has warrants out for himself. Michelle shouldn't have fucking said that. I'm only saying it because it's out now to thousands of people, more people than are here. She shouldn't have blurted that out to everybody. That's stupid. Now he could possibly go to jail, and we won't get to know anything else. Well, we just need to give Joe more exposure and the proper kind of. Even hooking him up with like different YouTube channels and mainstream. Uh, Crap. I'll be right back. So what do you know, Susan? Or I mean, not Susan. Hello, good. Yeah, but Joe isn't going to walk into a police station. And he doesn't even want to work. He's not working with Michelle or Lisa anymore. So he's not going to be working with any lawyer with them because he hates them. They're not working with Jason, the private investigator. They're not working with Matthew. They're not working with Joe Burns, the eyewitness. The only reason why they're known for this case. And I have a problem with it because they're making money from people that are vulnerable and caring about Kurt. Anyway, I do have to go. My phone is at 7%, but I will be back later. So goodbye, everyone. Allison, Jason, Nina, Honey, Susan, and everybody else in Mon 7. Peace out. See you guys. You're welcome. Bye. See ya.